It's meant to be a short talk, right? This is not a kind of typical academic artist talk where I get to regale you with decades of work. It'll just be sweet and concise about the specific piece and some of the inspiration behind it, but I do want to leave some time for anyone to ask questions about the imagery, the process, or anything that you might want. Please come on in, sit down. So let's just go ahead and get started. In thinking about what I wanted to talk about to you today in regards to the mural, I was thinking about these two ideas of courage and compassion. They really came up through the conversations that we were having with the students in preparation for the mural. And a lot of the work that I do, especially this type of public-facing artwork, public artwork, I always have a community engagement process where I'm able to engage stakeholders, whoever those are, in the process of creating this imaginary together, right? Understanding the context of where the artwork is going to go, but also how it's going to function in that space. And when Shri, who's here present, was the connecting link between the leadership school and myself, the school wanted a piece of artwork, a mural. They reached out to Shri for recommendations for artists, and then Shri reached out to me as a former student and muralist and someone who works within community, just if I was interested, and I said yes. And when I first started having these conversations with the School of Leadership, I told them about the process that I do with engaging their community and the process of creating. Of course, they were all about it. That's very much something that is part of this school itself and the way that they teach leadership. So it was essentially a perfect fit. And the stakeholders here are the staff, the faculty, and of course the students that come through the program and that take the classes. I also wanted this because this is an educational institution, a university. I wanted this to really center the student experience with the program, with the school, and to let that really be what was driving the design, right? Not knowing what that was gonna take me, where we're gonna end up, I wanted that to be a focus. But also once we had an actual design and we're ready to start working, I wanted students to be involved in the process of creating the art itself. So there were schedules that were created where students could sign up and be a part of painting the mural. There were several students, right, that took the initiative to sign up to participate. And as it often happens, right, with busy college students, right, out of the couple dozen that signed up, there were maybe a couple that actually showed up to help, which was totally expected, right? Like I hold nothing against the students. I understand that their education comes first, and when you have to choose between a fun night out or being here in the middle of winter painting a mural, I know where your alliances stand. So no hurt feelings. But it was important for me that there was an opening for students to participate. And I guess that really speaks to a longer journey that I've had with engaging community, with being a leader within community, and thinking about this idea of impact. And today, I spent a couple hours with Ryan at the Special Collections Library doing a long-form interview for an oral history project. And it was really cool because I really got to reflect on my journey as an artist and the transformation that has happened over the years. And one of the pieces that has really changed in that time has been this understanding that I have about impact. I come from a background of social justice work, community organizing, all within nonprofit institutions. And for years, especially as an early 20-something-year-old, learning to work in a out in the labor force, right, in a nonprofit, and kind of understanding who I am now that I'm joining, right, this machinery of being employed and having to make money to survive. It was kind of driven into my brain that you have to deliver on numbers, right? Often in the work that I was doing, right, anything from organizing community meetings to reach out to legislators, to meet with decision makers, sometimes organizing protests, direct action events. It was always about the numbers. How many people, how many butts in seats, right? How many people were in the room? How many people showed up to the strategy meeting? How many people made a call to legislator X or Y? How many people showed up to the rally? How many people are in the buses? How many doors have we knocked? How many interviews have we made? And it was driven by this idea of, more is more. We need more. We need more. We need more engagement. We need more numbers. We need to show that we're strong. And after years of that kind of expectation of always delivering a report to your funders, to your private donor, to the foundation, to whoever's paying for your salary, you realize that it's unsustainable, right? That it's, in a way, it's mirroring the expectations of capitalism, right? This kind of ever growing graph, right? That is meant to go up and up and up and up eternally, right? That it's completely unrealistic, it's false, but it's also just totally unsustainable, not only in the professional sense of an institution, but also for the people that make that institution. So in my own journey, both as an activist, a community organizer, and also an artist, I've been deconstructing this idea of what does it mean to be effective, what does it mean to be impactful. And something that I've now have embraced is that the numbers, right, like all these like big numbers don't equal effectiveness, right, or positive change. So going back to a couple dozen students sign up, but only 2 showing up. Those are the 2 that really matter, right? Because those are the ones that are going to get a meaningful experience in this process, right? The impact that I'm having is going to be measured by the meaning that we're creating and the transformation that is creating with those people that we're investing time and energy, right, with intentionality. And that's something that I really was able to learn through art making and community, and seeing the transformation that happens where people are involved in a meaningful way, where you're not just a number that's showing up to fill up the seats so that we can meet our quota, right? But you're someone who is showing up fully, and you're being seen fully, you're being heard fully, and you're actually involved in the transformational process, right? So transformation was a big part of the mural. For all of the research nerds in the room, right? So we engaged in a process of collecting data, essentially. We did a series of conversations very much like this, although I wasn't just talking at them, we were actually talking to each other and talking about the reflections, being a part of the leadership program, what it meant, what leadership meant to them, how they understood it in practical terms. And we collected data from questions the students were writing out answers, notes that people in the room were taking notes. We had a short survey, so there was a lot of different points to collect data, and we essentially coded all that data. We went through all the data, coded it, and it started to really distill down like what were the themes that people are talking about in all the data that I collected here at the Staley School. And these are the things that came to the top. I came back a third time. Come in, have a seat, please. Came in a second and a third time, with this coded data, right, that we collected from the research. And did an exercise that is very common now, where, the dot exercise, where you get people, these are the things that you're talking about. This are, this is we coded from the data, the words that came to the top, and give them 3 dots, right, and ask them, put them on the words that speak to you the most, right, on this board that came from that data. You can put all 3 in one or spread them however you want to. And so we were just at the lobby, see how, it's a great place for gathering. That's when students were coming in and out of the big classroom, the auditorium, going to the coffee shop. So we had an opportunity to really intersect students, had a beautiful basket full of snacks and drinks to coax students to spend just 30 more seconds with us at the table so they can grab those 3 stickers and put them on the board. And once we were done for that day, I was able to take all this home and see what the results were. And this is it. At the very top, positive change had a total of 17 votes. It was the very top one. Compassion came on second. Family was third. Connection was number 4. And surprisingly, the Flint Hills was number 5. Surprising to me. I really didn't expect the Flint Hills to rank so high up, right? So those first top 5, those were the ones that really became the foundation for the storytelling and the design that you see in the hallway now. From that, I based everything else that you see. Community was another big one. Belonging and opportunity came on number 7, and friendship. Oop, there's an F missing there. Friendship and diversity came on number 8. And so this is one example of how you can really provide different opportunities, different touch points for your community to engage in creating this imaginary together and defining what is the narrative, what is the story that we want to tell. In previous projects, I've taken a more robust approach to designing collectively, where we're because of the circumstances here, the context. I live in Wichita. I have to drive in, so I had kind of limited windows of opportunity to be here present and engage students. It's a revolving door. Every semester you get different faces, so that's another interesting challenge. We started a little bit early on, about a year ago, because we had a whole group of graduating seniors, and that was our last chance to really get their information and their thoughts. So we got to get those who have been here for 4 years, they're on their way out. And then the next time I was back, we got a bunch of freshmen and sophomores fresh into the program and into these ideas. So we got a really good mix of data and information. And other projects, when I have the luxury of just being there present all the time, we're able to engage the group regularly, and they actually are part of a process where they're creating the image themselves, right? Where we have different activities where we're defining together what the images are going to be, how they're organized visually, spatially. So there's different approaches to a collective image making. But this is the approach that we took for this context. In addition to the research or the engagement that we do and the data that we gather from the community engagement, I'm also doing research about the institution, about the land, about the space that we inhabit. Ryan with Special Collections Libraries, again, shout out, was so kind in pulling so much information from the Special Collections Library. And that's when I learned about the We Are the Dream mural located at Hale Library, which was finished in 1980. Now remember, I came to school here. I spent 2 years at Willard Hall, just across the street, and I had no idea that mural existed at Hale Library until just a few months ago, right? When Ryan pulled all that information. And it was really fun. I'm a history nerd, so I enjoy digging through archives and kind of putting together all the pieces. It was great to see the artifacts that have been saved from that project. but also to see the evolution of how the university understand these artifacts of art. Um, there was a lot of questions about how the mural is supposed to be seen and experienced by the students. At some point, there was a question if as the purpose of the room and where it was going to change. Should the mural be covered? Should it be painted over? And reading through the email threads, right, the faculty and staff are sending each other. It was, funny to see the tea, right, to learn the tea, to get the inside. But also, I was able to see the care. The people were really concerned about how to safeguard this piece of art and everything that it represented. Eventually, there's a fire at the library, and the mural was moved. There was some water damage, and it was moved to a whole other floor. And you can see it now, right? It's displayed at the athletic center, something rather, in the third floor, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't quote me on that. But what it showed me is that there was a lot of care about how to safeguard this piece of art. And it gave me a lot of confidence that what I was doing here, what I was about to do in this space, that it was going to be taken care of. When we're creating artwork and putting it out into the world, especially when we're doing it out on the streets, we know that there's a really big risk that that's going to go away any minute, right? It comes with the territory. So it's like you're happy that it's out there in the world and that it's being experienced by people, but you know that there's a lifespan to some of the art that we create, especially in the streets. So it was really great and really affirming to see that this mural that was created 40 some years ago was protected, it was restored, and it was saved for more generations to come, right? So that was a really affirming thing for me as both as an alum, but also as an artist engaging in this process. I was also I got to learn about the story of the students that were engaged, right? I got to, it was initially created by Harold Carter, was one of the main leaders. It was essentially the Black Student Union that was organizing this mural. And then as they starting their process of raising money and people starting to know about, because it was all self-funded, right? There was no institutional support other than here's a wall for you to paint. So they had to deal with the fundraising, they had to come up with the design, and the more people started to learn about this project, and there were other student organizations, like the Hispanic and Latino student organization, there was a Native American student organization, and it was interesting, one, to look at the language, right? Because I have a background in social justice and engaging in narratives around racialized people, it was interesting to kind of compare and contrast how language has evolved, right, in the last 4 or 5 decades. It was also great to see the positive changements, the advancements that we had in when it comes to finding more equal footing, right, equity and these type of spaces. And it's also grounding and sobering to see what are the areas that maybe remain the same, right? Some challenges remain to this day. But learning about this as someone who, as a brown student, an immigrant student, a queer student, all these different identities that I hold, who studied here, to know that this is the foundation that I'm standing on, right? That I'm not the first one engaging in this work, certainly, but I am building on the work that has been here before me. So it's important for me to include their work in this mural in some way. So you can see Harold Carter as you're coming in from that side, right? He kind of, it's almost like he's casting the whole vision, right? Literally painting. I just love the pose that he has. So I use this photographs as reference of the beginning of that part of the mural. And then Teresa Guillen, in this picture, she's receiving an award for that mural and the work that they did as students. So I wanted to include that moment, but also, and I removed the award, and you see butterflies, right, that are coming out of her hands, right, kind of casting this, the transmutation that is happening with the butterflies. The butterflies, nature in general, but butterflies, it's such a powerful image for transformation, right? They start as this little grub, like this, warm caterpillar that then builds this cocoon around it, and then it literally turns into mush, right? Like, when I learned that, before I learned that that's what happened, I thought that they just were in there and eventually started to like grow wings, right? And then they came out. No, it turns into mush. The actual caterpillar completely dissolves into goo and then comes together again into a butterfly, which then emerges from the cocoon, right? So there's some DNA, there's information that is carried in those bodies that knows how to transform into that butterfly. And with the monarchs, not only do they know how to transform themselves in that way, they know that they have to travel thousands and thousands of miles from central Mexico all the way up to Canada so they can reproduce and then come back to where they started, right? They didn't go to the Staley School of Leadership to learn that, right? They didn't enroll at K-State. There's information that is carried in their genes. So it's like this, I can't help but to think about what information do I carry from my own ancestors? What information is within me that without even knowing, it's coming out in the work that I do, right? What is that transformation that is happening with the people that I'm engaging, with the communities that I'm engaging through this process of creation? So the engagement of community, the engagement of stakeholders, of students in this case, is so important because that's an opportunity for maybe that moment, that connection is what is needed to trigger that information within them, right? For that transformation to start. These are butterflies that were captured, I don't know if that's a word, by this group of students. There's a new group of an ecology group, art and ecology, that Kevin Bernstein, one of the painting professors, Willard, who's also one of my painting professors, and they're cataloging all of the different specimens from the Kansas prairie. And they showed up. Kevin knew that I was gonna be here, and they showed up with his class and these butterflies that they had cataloged so that I can use as reference for the mural. So these butterflies are now represented, like literally, I traced these butterflies and they're on the mural. And these are these small moments, right, that you're found throughout the entire mural that connected in a way that is really meaningful to me, but also to those that are engaging in the process. And I want to make a shout out to the real MVPs, Rita and Sue, right here, please. And I got to give you your flowers because you were the two students that showed up every time, right? You were so committed to the project and to making this happen along with me and Mason. And I'm just so thankful for the work that you put in. There were so many hours that you were here. Every time I was here, you were here with me and with Mason showing up. And your work, that's also your work, right? And I want you to know that and to remember that, right? That you also made this happen, right? That this is a shared accomplishment, right? That we can't do things without each other, right? It's really easy for me to stand up and say, yeah, I did it, but it wasn't me. It was really a community effort. So thank you. Thank you for your work and for showing up. Yep. So I titled the mural Transmutation. The Transmutation. That is to me, is a perfect word to describe what we are witnessing in the mural and hopefully what happened with everyone involved. Transmutation is often involved with alchemists trying to turn rocks into gold, right? There's like this magic that is involved to turn a rock into gold. But there's also magic that happens in the process of a caterpillar turning into goo and then forming itself into a butterfly. There is plants, native Kansas plants throughout the mural. And those come from a seed. A little seed, right, has so much information in it. There's a project, another art piece that we just finished for the Maya Angelou Neighborhood Library in Wichita. And that one was inspired, the images were inspired by braids in the Black diaspora. That library is squarely in the Black neighborhood in Wichita, so we wanted to honor that history. And in the research that we did for that project, we learned about how the braids, the patterns, right, the Black folks were using their braids was a way to show you a map to freedom, right? That's a way that they could transfer information to freedom without anyone else finding out. And in addition to that, they would hide seeds in their braids. And once you were able to find your way to freedom, you still have the challenge of feeding yourself, of survival, right? Freedom doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to survive. You still have to feed yourself and your people in your community. And these were plants, right? Seeds that they brought from Africa, right? So they were able to grow native African plants in this continent. So again, just like the grub, the little caterpillar has all that information within it, seeds, this tiny little thing has all this information. When you put it in the ground and it knows how to grow, how to sprout into a seedling, into a tree, right? Into a flower that is gonna give you fruits, that is gonna give you sustenance. So this idea of transmutation, of the magic that is necessary, right? To imagine something better for us. And I hope that as you look through the mural, as you're walking through it, that you find all these different moments of transformation, of magic, but also of the challenges, right? And there's something that I shared earlier with Brian is, and I do think this is from Saul Alinsky, that he talks about change doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? Change implies movement. And every time there's movement, you have friction, right? So the idea of change, we cannot have, change is inevitable. Change happens and will happen every day. And change, every time there's movement, there's gonna be friction, right? So if we're seeking change, we have to expect pushback, we have to expect friction, we have to expect to be challenged. That's just part of seeking something better for ourselves. And another beautiful quote that again, it informs the work that I do. Certainly this one is from Octavia Butler in The Pearl of the Sower, where she says that everything we touch, we change. And everything that we change changes you. And the only living truth is change, right? God is change. So between Octavia Butler talking about change being the everlasting truth, and Saul Alinsky talking about the inevitable friction that comes with change, it's like that, to me, that's something that grounds me, right? It shows me that challenges are part of being alive, right? But there's information within me and within all of us, right? That we don't even know that it's there. That is gonna lead us to something better, to something beautiful, right? To become a butterfly, to become a beautiful flower in the prairie. So it's a tall order for the mural, but I hope that the story is there, and I hope that it comes across as you walk down the halls and look at the work. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shri, again for being the connector and connected me to the amazing people here. Everyone who works in the school, Tracy, you've been so amazing. Thank you for all the support and for always being such a champion. Everyone here in this building was so welcoming. And Mary Kate, just to see your kind face every time was like a really grounding thing for me when I was here on those late nights when you were doing your class in the back. And again, Sue and Rita, thank you for showing up and for making space in your very, very busy student life. Aaron, you know, I learned a lot from you. I learned how to draw the body. So I know I said I was done, but I took a figure drawing class with Aaron. I took one with Terry Schmidt. And if you met Terry, Terry is that magic, right? She's about the gesture and like, you know, she's like a Harry Potter character, right? And she's like conjuring magic, right, in her gestural work. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a figure drawing class with Aaron, right, and see what that's like. And I kid you not, for weeks, we were drawing triangles. We had live nude models, and she's like, look at this spot right here, and then look at where the foot meets and where the other foot is, and then draw a line from here to there, and from here to there, and then draw that triangle so you can ground the figure. And it was like days and days and days and days of drawing triangles that make no sense. But eventually it made sense. It's like, okay, I get it. That foot, it's footing. Like that foot, it's not like this. It's like grounded, you know, and like the hip makes sense with the sternum and the head is like in the right position and it all clicks. So thank you for imparting all of the knowledge. Yeah. Wow, sorry, I'm pushing it. Okay, so that's all. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm very, 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 very thankful and grateful and I have a full heart. Yeah. Thank you.